Hey guys, on this week's Short Stack, we're going to be talking about Blue Beetle Rebirth number 1. I'm going to tell you if it's any good in 5 minutes or less. Alright guys, Blue Beetle Rebirth number 1 in 5 minutes or less. Here we go. Blue Beetle starring Jamie Reyes and Ted Kord in a mentor-mentee relationship. The other way around from what I said. Ted Kord, the mentor, of course. He's the second Blue Beetle. This book is written by Keith Giffen and drawn by Kolins. Keith Giffen, no stranger to these characters. He co-created Jamie Reyes, and then he also worked on Ted Kord back in Justice League International back in the 80s. So he's well versed in the Blue Beetle verse, if you will. This book opens up pretty spectacularly with a nice splash page of Jamie and Ted fighting these two villains called Rack and Ruin. From there we get a bit of a flashback to the day in Jamie's life where we're introduced to his family and friends, his best friends being Paco and Brenda, who are at each other's throats constantly. From there they go and we find out why kind of Ted and Jamie are pairing up. It's not for any real altruism moments. It's back to the original plight of Jamie Reyes. He's bonded to the Scarab that has been throughout the Blue Beetle generations and legacies, if you will, and he wants it off of him because the Blue Beetle Scarab acts differently towards Jamie than it did Ted or Dan. With Ted it didn't work at all. With Dan it kind of gave him mystical powers. With Jamie it's alien technology and he gets a new super suit, which is really neat, but you can kind of see why he doesn't want that whenever he's trying to live his everyday high school life. Now we do find out later in the book that when Dr. Fate shows up that what we thought was alien technology for Jamie Reyes' Beetle is actually going back to magic. And this is something I had forgot from Rebirth number 1, the actual universe one-shot. The Beetle is gone from being a artifact to having mystical properties to being technology, now going back to magic. I think it's actually really neat how they're doing it, and they're tying in all the Blue Beetle stuff once again. There's more stuff that happens, but that's more spoiler heavy, and that's not what the short stack is about. This is more or less telling you, should you buy it? And yes, you should. It's $2.99, and I believe, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I believe Blue Beetle is actually going to be one of the few monthly titles from the Rebirth line. But this book is great. Ted Kord, Jamie Reyes, they banter really well with each other. Keith Giffen still has that really great dialogue. He hasn't lost as a writer. I mean, he's been writing for 30, 40 years now. And Scott Collins' art is great. It's expressive, it's dynamic, it's got a lot of great things going on for it. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you on this short stack. Be sure to tune in next week when we put out another one. We try to do Marvel, DC, and at least one independent book on these short stacks every week. If you like what we're doing here, please like and subscribe. We've got a whole bunch of cool stuff coming to Comic Plunder later this year. Thank you.